neighbor moved in next door. Everyone swears he's lived here for years. Everyone at the potluck was cracking jokes and elbowing this tall guy I'd never seen before. Some mysterious, pale, Slavic-looking man named Tony. Dee Dee brought her usual 24-pack from the brewery, and somehow Tony was given the first beer from the case. A privilege I'd never once received. Then I saw Jess, our building manager, challenge Tony to a game of darts with her son. They looked like experts when they played, as if Jess always did this with Tony, except she didn't. I'd never seen Jess or her son play darts. It was all very weird. I swam through the rec room, ignoring the blaring Super Bowl noise on the TV, and individually asked my neighbors who this Tony guy was. All I got were laughs and reminders of all the great things he'd done around our building. Tony? He's so handy. He fixed the pressure in my sink once. Used to be a plumber. Such a nice guy. He gave $100 for my daughter's bat mitzvah. Did you know that? His 4-layer cake at the Christmas party was incredible. Remember the icing? I did not remember the icing. I'd been a decade-long resident of this 12-plex and attended almost all of our monthly parties in the rec room. I could recite the names of every resident and their suite number. Yet, Tony did not live in any of them. Why was everyone pretending that he did? Eventually, I built up the courage to do what had to be done. I cracked open a beer, took a big swig, and then walked up to Tony with an open palm. "Hey pal, nice to meet you. I'm Ignatius." Tony raised an eyebrow and cracked a laugh. "Nice to meet you, Iggy. I'm Anthony. Is this how you say, role play?" I couldn't place the accent. Somewhere between Budapest and Moscow. "A role play? Number I don't believe we've met before." Tony chuckled again and lightly punched my shoulder. "Always the funny guy, huh? Book any new roles?" My last auditions had been pretty unsuccessful these past few months, but this was not the time to dwell on that. "Number? I'm being serious, Tony. I don't think we've met. How long have you lived here?" Tony giggled and clapped his hands. "Oh man, you are very convincing, you know." "I'm not. This isn't a joke." He then dragged Dee Dee into the conversation. "Iggy's doing a great performance. Check him out." She cracked open a new beer. Iggy Giggly. New stand-up. "No guys, this isn't, I'm not doing a bit." I took a step away from them both, gesturing toward the pale stranger. "I don't know Tony. I've never met him." Dee Dee narrowed her eyes and took a long sip of her beer. "Is this like anti-humor or something?" Flustered, I walked away and grabbed the first person I could find. Jess. She was mid-conversation with Marcello, who was giving her son a piggyback ride, when she spun around startled. "Iggy? Jess, this isn't a joke. I'm seriously kind of worried. I don't remember Tony at all. Everyone says they remember him living here, but I do not. Do you remember Tony? Please tell me." Yes, of course I remember Tony." She tilted her head, considering me. "For how long?" "I don't know. The whole time I've lived here. 7 years. 7 years, no way," I protested. No, that's not right." "What's not right, Iggy?" Dee Dee and Tony came over, their expressions filled with concern. "Everything okay?" I raised my hands, utterly dumbfounded by how all of this was happening, completely flabbergasted. Were all my neighbors just messing with me? Not wanting to further rile myself, I sighed. "You know what? Sorry guys, I'm a little drunk." All my neighbors stared at me, unconvinced. An icy silence fell over the room. Dee Dee took another sip and remarked, "By a little, you mean a lot drunk?" Everyone burst into laughter, and the tension broke instantly. Tony even gave a little clap. Icky, you're always a funny guy, man. Every time. I left the party early, not knowing what else to say. I felt embarrassed, yet mostly frustrated and angry. How is this possible? Am I missing something? Maybe I'd been hit with some kind of selective amnesia. Maybe I bonked my head somewhere and erased the very memory of a random European neighbor from my building. But when I returned home, I knew that couldn't be it. Next to my apartment, 012, where there should have been a cramped slide door leading into the utility closet, there now stood a simple mahogany door, much like my own, and above it, the numbers read 013. No way, this is messed up. I touched the door. It felt real. The doorknob was brass, the numbers plastic. Bolting back into my own place, I locked myself inside. I could feel the minute vibrations of an oncoming panic attack coursing through my torso. I exhaled repeatedly until the feeling eased a bit. It's okay. I'm okay. Let's think about this. This morning, I had been in the utility closet recording power usage numbers for the strata, meaning I should have video evidence. I unlocked my phone and scrolled through my most recent clips. Sure enough, I found a video from that very morning. The camera panned across the power meters, recording kilowatt hours, 10, 11, 12 meters, then lifted up to show the exit into the hall. From a skewed angle, I could see my door. I could literally see my door in this video. This video was recorded from inside the utility closet, which is now replaced by Unit 013. I tossed my phone aside and held my temples. What the heck is happening? Maybe I was having a mind blip. A random glimpse into Alzheimer's or something equally bizarre. I washed my face, slapped myself, and downed 2 shots of Crown Royal. After 5 minutes of summoning my courage, I opened my door for one last look outside. No sooner had I removed the slide lock than I heard Tony's voice. Icky, how you doing? He stood right outside, keys in hand, ready to enter his Unit 013, smiling with a small, jovial grin. He easily must have been close to 7 feet tall, at least that's how he appeared in the low-ceilinged hallway. And he looked lankier than before, with smaller eyes. Tony, hey. I tried to sound unperturbed by all my revelations. I swallowed hard. Sorry for, teasing you earlier. Teasing? Oh no, I thought it was a good act. Very funny, as if I never existed. Really funny idea. I gripped my doorknob tightly and tried to remain casual. Play along, my acting coach would say. Play along and see what your partner says. How long do you think we've known each other, Tony? I asked with a friendly smile. Feels like ages, right? Tony's smile widened, as if he'd been expecting the question. He drew a circle in the air around me with an exaggerated finger. I've known you since you were a little child, Ignatius. Ever since you were born, 30 miles away. I scoffed, alarmed by both the accuracy of his words and his strange behavior. He even dropped into a deeper voice. Why? Was he now doing a bit? Since I was a child, I asked. Yes, since you were a child. You were inseminated on July 14th, redacted, and you broke your mother's amniotic sac exactly 9 months later. His voice grew lower, resonating from his stomach. You first recognized yourself in the mirror on December 12th, redacted, and 21 months after that, you learned that all things die, and that death is permanent. I staggered slightly, fighting to stay composed. Is this a weird joke, Tony? Who said joke? Tony dropped his feigned deep voice and fixed me with an earnest seriousness I hadn't expected. I am taking over your place in this community. You have 2 days to move, cramped on the doorknob. What? 2 days, Iggy. 2? Yes, I am an, how you say, observer. I have observed many lives on Earth. Yours looked fun. Lots of friends, close by families with young children, all in one apartment. A perfect life for Skevdog. Skev? My name. You can tell whoever you want. No one will believe you. Skevdog is already here. There's nothing you can do. I was shocked, utterly stunned by the words coming from his mouth. Why did you bring up young children? I will swap them eventually too, with fresh Skevlings. No one will notice or care, just like with you. Perhaps it was the hallway light, but his neck and limbs seemed to have lengthened ever so slightly, and his eyes looked even smaller. I took another step back, preparing to close the door. I was overwhelmed by him, by the evening, by everything. Yet Tony kept talking, pointing directly at my face. I'm replacing you, Ignatius. They will start to forget you tomorrow, and the day after, they will forget you completely. If you are not gone by day 3, you will die. My hand trembled as I let go of the doorknob. I brought both hands up to my face in disbelief. And then Tony burst into laughter. Ha 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 ha. He slapped the wall beside him. Ha 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 ha, gotcha. It's all a joke, Iggy. Ha 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 ha, all joke. He draped a hand over my shoulder and squeezed me, surprisingly hard, holding me firmly in place. Pretty good, right? I am a good actor, right? I could barely force myself to look up at him. When I did, it seemed as if his head towered down from the ceiling, as though he were leering at me from the sky. Yes, I mumbled. You're a good actor. Very convincing. His pinhole eyes glimmered in their sockets. Good. I think so too. The next day, I called a rideshare and got the hell out. I had lived in that building for nearly 11 years and thought I would stay for 11 more. But there was no way in hell I could remain after that night. I don't know how Tony was doing it, but he was draining me, replacing me. I felt it from my scalp to my soul. My memories with Jess, Marcello, Dee Dee, and everyone else had grown fuzzier, fainter, as if Tony was scooping them out and remolding them into his own. My Uber arrived at 5:13 a.m. I shoved 2 heavy suitcases into the car and did not look back. I spent the next month and a half in a hotel on the opposite side of town before finding a new place. My family all thought I was having a midlife crisis, and I leaned into it, telling them exactly that. I said I wanted to try living downtown, meet new people, and give myself a refresh. It all seemed to align with turning 41. And maybe that's exactly what my life needed. Fast forward past a couple of successful auditions and open mic stand-up sets, and I even managed to meet my new partner, Amelia. She's really nice. It didn't take long for her to ask about all the photos on my Facebook from the old apartment. 10 years of memories in that old 12-plex, Evergreen Pines, or so I think. I can't quite recall the name or the address. I was caught off guard when she showed me all the pictures on her iPad. There was a photo of me grilling sausages for some small kid who didn't look familiar. There was a photo of me in a beer pong competition with a woman wearing a Molson brewing hat. She was blowing a raspberry. There was a photo of me singing at karaoke surrounded by people, including that sausage kid and the woman in the Molson brewing hat. After 10 minutes, it became really embarrassing. Amelia was a bit offended that I couldn't remember anyone from before. She accused me of trying to lie about my past. I told her that wasn't the case. Amelia, I'm serious. I know there was a reason I left my old apartment, but I can't remember. That's ridiculous. It's true. I swear. Of course, The more I talked about it, the more I actually did remember, except for all my past neighbors and friends from that apartment. I could not forget about Tony. In fact, Tony was the dark reminder of the whole event. By remembering him, I managed to rewrite this story with pseudonyms and my best guess as to what my life was like before. He was the one who took it all away. But Amelia didn't need to know that. I bit my lip and with a cheeky murmur said, "I really don't remember anything, babe." She stared at me with an unimpressed blasé expression. "Oh my God, Iggy, are you doing a bit? I can't recall anything at all." "Right, okay, that's very creepy. Knock it off. So do you remember these people or not?" I nodded and improvised names and backstories for everyone she pointed out, telling her they were once very close friends, though we eventually drifted apart. She seemed to buy it. There was just one last photo that caught her attention, a shot from a Super Bowl party, where I was holding a plate of nachos above my head. "Why do you look so weird in this one?" My neck looked longer. My eyes looked smaller. I knew that wasn't me in that photo. I have no idea how I uploaded it to my own Facebook account. It didn't make sense, but I didn't want to dwell on it. I wanted to move on, to close this messed up chapter. "Oh yeah, that's what whey protein shakes do to you," I said in my best Rodney Dangerfield impression. Amelia laughed. I deleted the photo. I've never mentioned my old apartment again.